For 22 years, the U.S. government promised the truth about UFOs. Project Blue Book, their official investigation, claimed to solve thousands of sightings. But their lead scientist called it a lie. Tonight, we deep dive into how Hynek exposed Blue Book as a machine of fake debunking, and why it matters now. Hynek spent 20 years at Blue Book, a skeptic hired to explain UFOs. But what he saw broke him: institutionalized fraud. In his 1977 book, The Hynek UFO Report, Hynek mentioned, the debunking was not scientific, it was dogmatic. Cases were explained not on evidence but by assignment. If a case landed on your desk, your job was to make it conventional. In the 1972 letter to the New Scientist, he stated, "At Blue Book, investigation meant finding a prosaic label, any label, to stick on a case. Radar malfunction. Venus. Swamp gas. The goal wasn't truth, but closure." Case 1. Michigan swamp gas, 1966. 40 witnesses saw lights darting over swamps. Hynek, under Air Force orders, blamed swamp gas. Case 2. Lubbock lights, 1951. When Texas professors saw V-shaped lights, Blue Book insisted they were birds flying in a pattern. According to Hynek, it was absurd. These were scientists. Case 3. RB-47 radar jamming, 1957. A UFO jammed radar across 4 states. Blue Book called it electronic interference, ignoring the pilot's testimony.
In my association with Project Blue Book, I know very well that it was not a scientific project. Also, I also know that they never would notify the media when an interesting case came up. They did everything they could to keep it hush, keep it down. So they definitely withheld information. One of the main things that has come out here that Peter has done is to substantiate the credibility of many of the civilians, because it was easy to, and still is, to discredit a civilian. Much more difficult to discredit a military man. In Blue Book, for instance, we would get reports from military pilots, and that was particularly embarrassing to the Air Force, because after they had trained those men, and they could say that a civilian pilot might have been untrustworthy, but they could hardly say that of their own military pilots. And we got case after case after case from military pilots, which never hit the press. There are 3 things about this whole thing, Tom, that no one can deny. They're incontrovertible points. Even the grossest skeptic can't deny them. First of all is that the UFO reports not only exist but persist. See, when I started with the Air Force, I thought that this was a fad. And it's global. We have reports now from 140 countries. And the most important of the 3 things is that many, unfortunately not all, but many of the reports come from highly credible, technically trained people.
Let's take a look at how fake debunking worked. Step 1. Pre-assigned explanations. Analysts were pressured to match cases to a short list of approved causes, weather balloons, temperature inversions, even when evidence didn't fit. Step 2. Ignoring witness credibility. Military pilots, police, and scientists were dismissed as mistaken, without follow-up. Step 3. Destroying evidence. Former Staff Sergeant David Moody admitted to destroying witness photos, radar tapes to avoid complications in a 1997 interview. This is not science. It is institutional self-defense masquerading as rationality. Hynek reserved special scorn for the 1968 Condon Report, which was used to justify shutting down Blue Book. At the 1975 MIT conference, Hynek stated, "It was a foregone conclusion. They investigated only cases easily dismissed. Complex ones? Ignored. That's not science, it's fraud." Yes, Project Blue Book's core function was to fake debunk UFO cases under the guise of science. Hynek, once a skeptic, spent his final years exposing this, calling it a betrayal of public trust. As Hynek realized too late, the greatest threat to science isn't believers, it's gatekeepers who confuse consensus with truth and institutional power with intellectual authority. Recognize the pattern. Reject fake debunking. And demand real science.